A grieving mother asked a biker for help because someone had kidnapped her daughter. What the biker did next was so shocking and brave that the entire town was left stunned. Sarah Collins ran barefoot through the parking lot of Murphy's Diner, tears streaming down her face. Her car keys were gone, her phone was dead, and her 6-year-old daughter Emma had vanished from their backyard 20 minutes ago. She spotted him immediately, a large man in a leather vest sitting on a motorcycle, drinking coffee from a paper cup. His arms were covered in tattoos, and his beard was thick and grey. Most people would have been scared. Sarah had no choice. "Please," she gasped, grabbing his arm. "Please help me. Someone took my daughter." The biker, his name was Marcus, set down his coffee. "When?" 20 minutes ago. I was inside for just a moment. When I came back, the gate was open, and she was gone. I saw a white van driving away fast. I tried to follow, but my car wouldn't start. Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Goodness Effect. Marcus pulled out his phone. "Did you call the cops?" "Yes, but they said it would take time to get someone here. This is Route 9. There are 5 different highways he could take. By the time they set up roadblocks, he'll be gone." Sarah's voice cracked. She's wearing a pink dress. She has brown hair. "Please. You have a motorcycle. You can catch up." Marcus looked at her for 3 seconds. Then he kicked his bike to life. "Get on." Sarah climbed behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist. Marcus pulled out his phone again, this time sending a quick text message. Then he gunned the engine and they shot out of the parking lot. "What kind of van?" he shouted over the wind. "White panel van. Ford, I think." The back window was broken, on the left side. Marcus nodded and pushed the bike faster. But he wasn't just chasing blindly, he had sent that text for a reason. Within 60 seconds, his phone buzzed with responses. 11 of them. Marcus pulled to the side of the road briefly to check his phone. Sarah's heart sank. Why were they stopping? "What are you doing?" she cried. "Getting back up," Marcus said calmly. He showed her the screen. 11 messages from different numbers, all saying variations of the same thing. On it, "Where? Who are these people?" "My club. Iron Riders MC. I just told them what happened. They're spreading out across every road out of town." Sarah felt a flicker of hope. Will that work? Better than doing this alone. Marcus pulled back onto the road. "My buddy Jake is heading to Route 34. Tommy's covering the interstate entrance. Rick's checking the industrial area. Someone will spot that van." They rode for 3 more minutes, Marcus scanning every vehicle they passed. Sarah's mind raced with horrible possibilities. Emma was probably terrified. Was she hurt? Was she crying for her mother? Marcus's phone buzzed again. He pulled over and checked it. Jake spotted a white van heading east on Route 34. "He's following at a distance." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Hang on." He turned the bike sharply and accelerated down a side road. Sarah didn't know these streets, but Marcus seemed to know exactly where he was going. They cut through residential neighborhoods, past a closed factory, then deck onto a main road. "There," Marcus said, pointing ahead. Sarah saw it. The white van, about 200 yards ahead. Behind it was another motorcycle, keeping pace, but not getting too close. Marcus pulled up next to the other biker at a red light. The man Jake, Sarah assumed, nodded toward the van. Definitely broken back window on the left. "I saw the plate, ran it through my buddy at the DMV. It's stolen." Marcus looked at Sarah. "Did you see who took her?" "No. I just saw the van leaving, but my neighbor Mrs. Patterson said she saw a man in a blue jacket near our yard earlier. She thought he was a utility worker." Jake spoke up. "There's a guy driving, can't see anyone else, but the windows are tinted." The light turned green. The van moved forward. Marcus and Jake followed, staying several car lengths back. "We can't let him know we're following," Marcus said. "If he panics, he might hurt her." Sarah's stomach twisted. The van turned onto the highway entrance ramp. Marcus and Jake followed, and Sarah noticed 2 more motorcycles joining them from different directions. The Brotherhood was assembling. The white van maintained steady speed on the highway, staying in the right lane. Marcus counted 5 motorcycles now, all maintaining distance, but keeping the van in sight. They communicated through hand signals and brief phone calls, warning their movements. "Where's he going?" Sarah whispered. "Heading toward the county line. There's nothing out this way except farmland and some abandoned warehouses." That made Sarah's blood run cold. Abandoned warehouses meant isolation. It meant no witnesses. Marcus made a quick call. Tommy, get ahead of him. Take exit 47 and wait. If he takes that exit, block it with your bike. Make it look like a breakdown. Sarah heard a voice on the other end. Copy that. The miles stretched on. Sarah's arms ached from holding Marcus so tightly, but she didn't let go. Every second felt like an hour. Then the van's right turn signal came on. Exit 47. He's taking it, Marcus said into his phone. Tommy, you in position? 30 seconds out, came the reply. The van took the exit ramp. Marcus and two other bikes followed. As they came around the curve, Sarah saw Tommy's motorcycle lying on its side in the middle of the road, with Tommy standing next to it looking frustrated. The van had to slow down. It came to a complete stop about 20 feet from Tommy's bike. This was the moment. Marcus stopped his bike and helped Sarah off. Stay here, he commanded. No. That's my daughter. Marcus looked at her. Stay behind us. We don't know if he has a weapon. The other bikers had stopped too, creating a semicircle around the van. Marcus approached slowly, hands visible. The driver's door opened, and a thin man in a blue jacket stepped out. Hey man, can you move your bike? The man called out. His voice was shaky. Bike's broken, Tommy said. Might take a while. The man looked around, noticing the other motorcycles for the first time. His face went pale. What's going on? Marcus walked closer. We're looking for a little girl. 6 years old. Pink dress. Seen anyone like that? The man's eyes darted toward the back of the van, just for a second, but everyone saw it. I don't know what you're talking about, he stammered. I'm just trying to get to work. In a stolen van? Marcus asked calmly. The man's hand moved toward his jacket pocket. Instantly, 3 bikers stepped forward. Don't do it, Marcus said quietly. The man froze, his hand halfway to his pocket. 6 large bikers stood between him and any escape. His eyes searched desperately for a way out, but there was none. Where is she? Sarah screamed, unable to stay back any longer. She pushed past Marcus. Where's my daughter? The man backed against the van. Look, I don't want any trouble. Then open the back, Marcus said. It wasn't a request. I don't have the keys for the back. This isn't even my van. I'm just delivering it for someone. Marcus pulled out his phone. Then we wait for the cops. They'll be here in about 6 minutes according to the text I just got. That changed everything. The man's face went from scared to panicked. Wait. Okay, look, I was just supposed to drive. That's all. I didn't hurt anyone. Open the back, now. The man pulled keys from his pocket with shaking hands. He walked to the rear of the van, glancing at the bikers surrounding him. He knew running was pointless. He unlocked the doors and pulled them open. Sarah pushed forward and screamed. Emma was there, sitting on a blanket in the corner, her hands tied with rope tape over her mouth. But she was alive. She was moving. Sarah climbed into the van and pulled her daughter into her arms, ripping the tape off as gently as she could. Emma burst into tears, clinging to her mother. Mama, I was so scared. I know, baby, I know, you're safe now. Marcus grabbed the man by his jacket and slammed him against the side of the van. Who hired you? I don't know his name, I swear. He just called me, offered me $500 to pick up a package and drive it to a warehouse in Glendale. A package? That's a child. He didn't tell me that. He just said pick up a package at the Collins address and bring it to the warehouse. I didn't know it was a kid until I grabbed her. Jake stepped forward. And you still did it. The man had no answer for that. Marcus heard sirens in the distance. The police were almost there. He released the man and walked to the van, where Sarah was untying Emma's hands. The rope had left red marks on her small wrists. Is she okay? Marcus asked gently. Sarah nodded, tears flowing freely. She's okay, thank you. Thank you so much. But Marcus wasn't finished. You said someone hired him, someone who knows where you live. Someone who called her a package. He looked at Sarah seriously. This wasn't random. Someone targeted your daughter specifically. Sarah's relief turned back to fear. What? Who would do that? The police arrived within minutes. Officers took the man into custody and called for an ambulance to check Emma. While the paramedics examined her, Detective Carol Wright pulled Sarah aside. Mrs. Collins, do you have any idea who might want to harm your daughter? Sarah shook her head. No, we're nobody. I'm a teacher. We don't have money. I don't understand. Detective Wright glanced at her notepad. The man we arrested is named Dennis Howell. He has priors for theft. and drug possession. He says someone called him from a blocked number and offered him money. He'd take Emma to a warehouse in Glendale. But here's what's strange. He said the caller knew Emma by name. Knew exactly when you'd be distracted, even knew about your car trouble. Sarah went cold. My car trouble started this morning. The battery died. I was waiting for a jump. How would anyone know that? That's what we need to figure out. Detective Wright pulled out her phone and showed Sarah a photo. Does this warehouse address mean anything to you? 4750 Industrial Way, Glendale. Sarah stared at the address. Something about it felt familiar, but she couldn't place it. Marcus had been standing nearby, listening. That's near the old textile factory. Place has been abandoned for 5 years. Detective Wright nodded. We're sending units there now. Sarah's phone, which she had retrieved from her car, suddenly rang. Unknown number. She answered it on speaker. Hello. Silence for a moment. Then a voice. Digitally altered, impossible to identify. You got lucky today, Sarah, but this isn't over. The line went dead. Detective Wright immediately called for a trace, but everyone knew it was pointless. Sarah's hands were shaking. Someone had been watching them, waiting. Plan. Marcus looked at the detective. She needs protection. We'll have patrol cars watching her house. That's not enough. Marcus turned to Sarah. Do you have somewhere else you can stay? Family. My sister lives 2 hours away, but I can't just run. I need to know who's doing this and why. Emma, still wrapped in a blanket provided by the paramedics, looked up at her mother. Mama, the man said something in the car. Everyone turned to look at the little girl. What did he say, sweetie? Detective Wright asked gently. He was talking on the phone. He said, I got the package. The person who wants her will pay extra for this. Then he said something about teaching someone a lesson. Sarah felt sick. Teaching someone a lesson? What does that mean? Marcus exchanged a look with Jake. They both understood something Sarah didn't yet. This isn't about Emma, Marcus said slowly. This is about you. Someone is trying to hurt you by taking your daughter. Sarah sat in Detective Wright's office 2 hours later, trying to think of anyone who might hate her enough to do this. Emma was safe at Sarah's sister's house, guarded by 2 of Marcus's biker friends who had volunteered to make the drive and stand watch. What about your ex-husband? Detective Wright asked. He died 3 years ago. Car accident. Former friends. Work conflicts. Sarah rubbed her temples. I'm a second-grade teacher. The worst conflict I have is with parents who think their kids deserve better grades. Detective Wright's phone rang. She answered it, listened, and her expression darkened. Send me the details. She hung up and looked at Sarah. The officers searched the warehouse in Glendale. They found a room set up with a cot, supplies and chains attached to the wall. Someone was planning to keep Emma there for a while. Sarah felt bile rise in her throat. There was also a notebook, the detective continued. Pages of notes about your daily routine. What time you leave for work. When Emma plays outside. Where you shop. This person has been watching you for weeks. Who would do this? Detective Wright pulled out a printed page. There was one entry that stood out. It says, she took everything from me. Now I'll take everything from her. The detective paused. Does that mean anything to you? Sarah's mind raced through memories. Students, parents, neighbors. Then something clicked. Oh my God. Jennifer. Jennifer who? Jennifer Marsh. She was married to my ex-husband before me. When he and I got together, Jennifer blamed me for their divorce. But that was 8 years ago. She moved away. I haven't heard from her since. Detective Wright typed quickly. We'll locate her. What else can you tell me? She was obsessed with having children. She and my ex tried for years but couldn't. When Emma was born, Jennifer showed up at the hospital. She tried to hold Emma, and when the nurses wouldn't let her, she started screaming that Emma should have been her daughter. Security had to remove her. And you haven't seen her since? No, I thought she moved on with her life. Detective Wright made several phone calls while Sarah waited. Marcus had stayed as well, sitting quietly in the corner. After 20 minutes, the detective hung up and sighed. Jennifer Marsh has been living under an alias in Glendale. She works at a call center, and she has a storage unit registered in her name 2 blocks from that warehouse. Sarah's heart pounded. What's in the storage unit? Officers are getting a warrant now. We'll know soon. Detective Wright leaned forward. Mrs. Collins, if this is Jennifer, she's not stable. The notes we found suggest she believes Emma is somehow rightfully hers. She might try again. Marcus spoke from the corner. Then we make sure she can't. Within 3 hours, police had located Jennifer Marsh at her apartment in Glendale. She didn't resist arrest. In fact, according to the officers, she smiled when they put the handcuffs on. I almost had her, Jennifer said calmly, as they led her to the police car. I was so close to having my daughter back. The search of her storage unit revealed the full extent of her obsession. Photos of Emma covering the walls, a bedroom set up with a pink bed and toys, clothes in Emma's size, and a detailed plan for starting a new life in another state with a new identity in Emma. Detective Wright showed Sarah some of the photos later. She's been following Emma for months. She has pictures from the park, from school drop-off, from your backyard. She even has recordings of Emma playing. Sarah felt sick. How did I not notice? She was careful. Professional stalkers know how to stay invisible. The detective closed the folder. Jennifer hired Dennis Howell online through a dark web forum. She told him exactly when to grab Emma, knowing your car wouldn't start because she had sabotaged the battery the night before. She was at my house. She admitted to everything. She seems proud of it. In her mind, she was rescuing Emma from the woman who stole her chance at motherhood. Sarah covered her face with her hands. The thought of Jennifer creeping around her house in the dark was almost worse than the kidnapping itself. Marcus, who had been listening quietly, asked, "Will she go to prison?" For a very long time, Detective Wright confirmed. Kidnapping, stalking, conspiracy. She's looking at 20 years minimum. Sarah finally allowed herself to breathe. It was over. Emma was safe. She turned to Marcus, who was preparing to leave. "I don't know how to thank you. If you hadn't helped me." "You don't need to thank me," Marcus said. "I have kids too. I know what you felt in that parking lot. But you didn't just help. You called your friends. You organized a search. You risked yourselves for a stranger." Marcus shrugged. "That's what we do. People see the leather and the bikes and they think we're dangerous. Most of the time we're just people who like to ride. But when someone needs help, especially a kid, we show up." Jake, who had been waiting outside, walked in. "Marcus, the club wants to do something. We're setting up a fund for Emma. Therapy costs. Whatever she needs. Already raised $3,000. Sarah started crying again. "Why would you do that?" "Because we can," Jake said simply. "And because every kid deserves to feel safe." Over the following weeks, the story spread through the town. The local news picked it up. Bikers save kidnapped girl. But for Marcus and his club, it wasn't about recognition. They went back to their regular lives, working their jobs, riding their bikes, helping their community quietly. Sarah and Emma slowly recovered. Emma had nightmares for a while, but with therapy and her mother's constant love, she began to heal. She kept one memento from that terrible day, a photo that Detective Wright had taken of the bikers standing protectively around the white van. Emma called them her guardian angels. 6 months later, Sarah received a letter from Marcus. It was short. "Hope you and Emma are doing well. If you ever need anything, you know where to find us. By the way, the club's hosting a family barbecue next month. You're both invited. Emma can meet the whole crew properly this time. No emergencies, just burgers and bad jokes. Take care. Marcus." Sarah smiled and pinned the invitation to her refrigerator. What started as the worst day of her life had revealed something beautiful, that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather vests and ride motorcycles, and they show up exactly when you need them most. The whole town learned something too. The Iron Riders, MC, weren't the rough outsiders people assumed they were. They were fathers, brothers, and protectors who proved that family isn't just blood. It's the people who stand beside you when everything falls apart. And Emma, she never forgot the bikers who saved her. Years later, she would tell the story herself, reminding people that kindness and courage can come from the most unexpected places.